This is Follow the Money on VSIN.
Big weekend as well with college baseball. One game in the books earlier today. North Carolina trucked Arizona 18-2. A lot of people saw that one coming. Right now, bottom of the eighth, Louisville on top of Miami 8-1. And Florida State and Oregon State, Paulie, there in the top of the second. They are scoreless, and we head out here to the Progressive Guest Line to talk about betting on the College World Series as Noah Bieniek joins the program now. He is with the Sports Gambling Podcast. Noah, thanks for the time today. How are you?
I appreciate you guys having me on the show. I'm excited to talk college baseball. I'm having a great day. How about you guys?
Doing really well. Let's begin. Well, also, that's great to hear that you're having a great day. Let's begin with a game that just started now with the Seminoles and the Beavers. Again, scoreless, top of the second. Is there something here that the audience trying to get a bet down potentially should pay attention to live?
Yeah, if you're looking for a live edge, the way that we've seen the first two games especially go is we saw North Carolina put up a lot of runs early. We saw Louisville put up a lot of runs early. Both Miami and Arizona punted the game. So they didn't trot out some of their better bullpen arms. They're saving them for the rest of the series. If Florida State falls down early, they do not have the bullpen depth to really kind of pitch their way into keeping this a long scripted game. They need a good start here from Joey Vellini. If that left-hander comes off the mound for the Seminoles, I think that Oregon State could be able to pull away in this one.
Okay. How about Murray State and Duke? Duke a big favorite tomorrow. What do you want to do with this game, and if you see a lot of runs in this one?
I do see a lot of runs in this one. In the Oxford Regional last weekend, Murray State, as a 4 seed, was putting up runs left and right. It was very impressive going up against some really good pitching out of Ole Miss and Georgia Tech. They put up at least 8 runs in all 4 of the games they played against those two teams. Going up against Duke in this one, Murray State's in that final game of the Oxford Regional, they threw both their best starting pitcher and their second best starting pitcher in the regional final in order to advance into the series. So you're going to have both starting pitchers on short rest possibly for this first game. And it's not a great pitching staff to begin with for the Racers. The strength is that offense. So I'm looking at Murray State. If they continue what they were doing, there's like 6 lefties in that lineup. Jonathan Hogarth at the top is a really good right-handed stick. Dustin Mercer was the Oxford most outstanding player. Like I said, they were putting up runs in each of these games. Duke's a very powerful offense as well. I think they'll very much support an over in this one, even if Owen Prosch goes all right for the Blue Devils to begin the game.
That's 10 a.m. tomorrow, and then at 2 o'clock Pacific, that's 10 a.m. Pacific rather, and then 2 o'clock Pacific Saturday, Tennessee and Arkansas, total 11.5. Also an over?
Yeah, I'm going to go over on this one too. This might be a little bit more surprising to college baseball listeners because this is supposed to be one of the best games that we're going to see all weekend. You got Liam Doyle projected to start. We don't know if he's actually going here. Zach Root was announced to be the starting pitcher here. Both of these guys have been the number ones in the rotations for a lot of the season. However, we just saw Arkansas and Tennessee play against each other in a series just 3 weeks ago. And both of these guys didn't have the greatest starts against these respective teams. And Liam Doyle on the road has a 5.17 ERA compared to his 2.84 season long. In that game against the Hogs, he was tagged in 4.1 innings for 8 runs, 6 of them earned on 11 hits. And then for Zach Root, the left-handed starter for Arkansas, he only went 3.2 innings, giving up 4 earned on 7 hits against Tennessee. Both offenses are super strong. You're looking at an Arkansas team that is one of the best offenses against left-handed pitching, which Doyle is a high-octane left-handed pitcher. But Arkansas's lineup, they've got a set of brothers in Vahiva Aloy, who might win the Golden Spikes. He's one of the 3 finalists, which is basically your Heisman Trophy for college football, for college baseball. And his brother Kahil Aloy, those two kind of lead that offense. They're batting .352 with a 10.59 OPS against left-handed pitching.
Nice. Follow the money here on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Noah Bieniek, and we're talking college baseball tournament. He is with the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and he's on the Progressive Guest Line. I don't want to overreact to LSU's weekend a weekend ago, but you lost to Little Rock. And Little Rock was a 14-1 dog to win the game outright. They came back the next night. They're trailing like 5-1 before they had to come back to win. I also really liked what West Virginia did over the weekend. I thought they were impressive. So how do you want to approach their matchup starting tomorrow, which is at 2 o'clock Eastern?
Yeah, I'm actually going to approach this pretty aggressively. You mentioned that LSU didn't have the sharpest weekend, especially offensively. They have been prone to kind of sleepwalk in some games. This is a very talented team. This is honestly a team that I had playing for the national championship when we saw the bracket get announced. And they struggled with that draw, which I thought was a pretty easy one. Now you get a West Virginia team coming in here who, again, I'm going to quote some split stats here against left-handed pitching. The Mountaineers are hitting 347 with an OPS with a 972 OPS against Southpaws. And then Cade Anderson's been the best pitcher for LSU all season long. He's probably going to go here and get the nod for the Tigers. In this game, I mean, he's been great this season. 3.28 ERA, 2.33 ERA in his last 6 starts. However, West Virginia has not really seen this type of quality lefty. That's why they're still a long underdog shot in this matchup. But I think that this offense really impressed me in that weekend. They swept through the Clemson Regional. They were able to put up 12 or 13 runs in that final game against Kentucky, who has a good pitching staff. Give me the Mountaineers as a big underdog plus 230. They need to win this game in a lower scoring manner. And I think that Griffin Kern, their starting pitcher, could be able to keep this one in that lower scoring game script for him. If you're not as bullish on a straight up money line underdog play, the under 11.5 should be good if you're more you're reliant on Cade Anderson keeping his same form that he's been in for much of the year.
All right, and then tomorrow night, UTSA and UCLA. UCLA $1.60. Why do you like the favorite?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bruins here. They are at home. They've been really good at home for what it's worth this season. And Michael Barnett, who's projected to be their starter in this matchup, in his last 4 starts, he's got a 2.92 ERA. At home, he is 7-0 with a 2.70 ERA compared to a 4.18 season-long ERA. And Zach Royce, the Game 1 starting pitcher for UTSA, on the season's got a 5.16 ERA. Last weekend, it was a complete blowout that he pitched in. There was really no game pressure against Kansas State. They won that game 10-2. A couple of runs were scored on him early in that matchup by the Wildcats. And I think that the Bruins were very impressive offensively in their regional that they hosted. And UCLA, they've got a great chance to get back to Omaha for the first time in a long time.
Very good. You can follow Noah on X. He is at NoahB77_. And he is with the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Does a great job covering college baseball. Noah, thanks for the time. Best of luck with the bets tonight and this weekend.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
There you go. And we got an email earlier today from Stuart, and the email is always open, ftm@vsin.com. He says, boys, I have never seen a stat line like this in any level of baseball, including Little League. In 5 games of the college baseball playoffs so far this year, Chad Gallagher of North Carolina.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen this?
They interviewed him after the game.
He's 17 of 23. That's a 739 clip with 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, and 9 runs scored. Holy hell. That is absurdly good. I don't think I've ever seen that before either. Video game stuff. And by the way, so we're going to be going...
We had a kid in high school, Eric Melvin, I think remember his name? Eric?
Hey.
Eric, what was his last name? The kid almost hit 500 for the year. High school baseball.
I think my cousin Greg hit like north of 600 one year. It was nuts. He was ripping the cover off the ball.
This kid was like 4 for 5, and they're talking to him after the game, and he got the mustache and everything, and then they put his stats up. I'm like, what? Yeah. What is he? 17 to 22?
So we're stoked. We are going to Omaha, flying out of Vegas next Wednesday. We're doing shows on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. This show, Follow the Money, will be on in its normal time. There, for those of you coming outside of that region, to watch all the games. It's 3 to 6 in the afternoon. Money Moves will be there as well with Stormy and JVT. Their show is 11 to 1. We're also on the air. This is all going to be live from Rocco's, right across from the stadium, from what we understand. And on Saturday, our show is 9 to noon out there. So we'll be tracking all the Jell-O shots and the challenge that goes on. I'd like to have it. We had a big meeting on this today. I'd like to have Luke, our producer, said he'd like to maybe be in charge of that. Can he do that with update the odds as well on which university is going to take it down? And if you get an LSU type there or Tennessee, they're going to be overwhelming favorites, but you got to have some gambling involved here.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. Been to Omaha several times, but it's been about 8 11, 12, 13 years, something like that.
Looks like we'll see North Carolina there.
Well, Jeff Davis said that the other day.
Yeah.
He really liked their path. So things went quite well for them today. But I think you're going to like Omaha, Paulie. You're going to like the people. We're already set up quite well.
my people, yeah. Midwest.
Yeah. We're going to have, I think, what's going to be a fun and interesting lunch one of the days for sure.
I looked at Runza, too. And,
high marks?
They have the sandwich. Yeast dough bread pocket with a filling consistent of ground beef, cabbage, seasoning, baked into various shapes such as half moon, rectangle, round, square, triangle. Give me the fries. Sure, it looks pretty good.
Right
Get the sauerkraut out of here, though.
No, love sauerkraut.
Oh, no.
In Pocket Place next.